All right. Hey, welcome everybody. It's Rob here from Bestseller Secrets, and I have a bestseller with us today. Yet again, Josh Coates is a good friend. We've helped Josh with a couple books. He's a Wall Street Journal best-selling author, obviously Amazon and Barnes and Noble and all that other stuff too when you hit something big like Wall Street Journal. Josh is an expert in the space of coaching people in the network marketing industry. He has trained over 50,000 people over his time. And we're going to talk a little bit specifically today about not the most recent book, but a book from 2019 called F Leadership. I don't know if you have it there, Josh. You can hold it up so that people can see it. It's a fantastic book. And, Josh has done some really amazing things with that book in the past as far as building a book funnel out, using that book funnel to attract clients. And we're going to talk a little bit about that today. So, Josh, thank you, brother, for being on with us and excited to dig deep in the stuff.
Thanks for having me, Rob. Always good to see you, man. Always good.
Same. I feel the same way. You're a great friend and somebody that I respect, and I love the business that you do. You sent me an email or a Facebook message, I think, just some time back about how you had turned your book funnel off, which that was like a stab in my heart. I felt like this pain go through my whole body. And then you told me that you turned it back on, and you were like, "What was I doing?" And
Yeah.
what? Do me a favor. Just give me some background. Give everyone
Yeah.
some background. Talk about your book funnel and
Mhm.
and the turning it off and turning it back on, and then I want to dive into some of the specifics of it, so we can leave
Yeah.
specifics of the funnel for after.
Well, just to go back to 2019, I ordered your book and was literally ordered it knowing, yes, publish,
Publish,
promote,
promote,
profit.
profit.
I ordered that book because I had already been playing with the idea of putting out a book, and I was kind of wrestling with, do I want to look for a book deal? I had some friends that had gotten six-figure book deals, and that
Yeah.
sounds real sexy and fun to get a check for 100,000, right?
Right.
But I wasn't 100% sure about the other things that I had heard. Well, yeah, they give you six figures, but then they want you to sell a course on the back end that they get the money for
Yep.
so that they can get their 100,000. And I'm like, I don't know about that. I'm pretty good at selling courses all by myself.
Exactly.
I don't need somebody else to do that for me. So I literally ordered your book hoping that it was exactly what you were teaching, how to essentially, and obviously I didn't know myself how to get it listed on Amazon. I didn't know all the process. So I was
Right.
literally just ordering your book pretty much as like a tryout. Like, let's see if this guy knows what he's talking about,
Love
because
it.
this is kind of what I'm already thinking about anyways, right? So I read, I think, two or three chapters, put the book down and emailed you guys and was like, what do we do? I'm ready. That's all I just needed to hear that
Yeah.
you had the system that I was looking for to do what I kind of already had an idea for, but didn't know how to implement that idea. Right.
I love it. I
So
love it.
we
The,
launched.
the beautiful thing about that
Yeah.
is you already knew what you wanted to do. And so
Yes.
in one sense, you were trying us out to see if we were
Yep.
doing what it was that you wanted to do. I
Yeah.
love that model. I do that as well when I buy
Yeah.
stuff. I'm like, okay, let me learn from people that are actually doing it so that
Yep.
I can implement those things myself. So that's great.
Yeah.
That's a great story.
And that's, I think that is probably our most ideal client. Not that the other clients aren't also good, right?
Right.
But I mean, I
Right.
just got a message, getting ahead of myself, just got a message last week. She goes, I got a Facebook message. It said, Josh, I ordered your book back in September, back when I had it on for a month. Uh, it was sitting on my shelf. She said, I couldn't sleep last night. Picked it up, read half the book in one night. I couldn't put it down. How do we work together?
Wow.
And it
That's
was the
that's
easiest.
exactly what you want, just like you
Yes.
did with me.
It was the easiest $8,500 sale I've ever
Wow.
closed in my life. 8,500 upfront. I spent $2,000 that month. That had already got me five other clients, and
Right.
this is now 6 months down the road, making $8,500 off of stuff that was done 6 months ago or whatever. So
Yeah.
that's the book. The book funnel itself, if you're listening to this and thinking about it, Rob didn't pay me to be here. Okay. He just asked, he did not pay me. it is hands down got to be the best lead magnet you could possibly have. And I've run lots of other ones too. We have,
Yeah.
the freebie funnels, the webinar funnels. I personally love webinars, but I think that there's no way a webinar works better than combining it with people that are already reading your book, right?
Yeah.
So you're going to get some of those initial reach outs, like the $8,500. Then you're going to get some people read their book in silence until they get invited to a big live event. And then they show up to a live event to hear an author. That's totally different than some random person they saw on the internet that they clicked on and didn't know if they wanted, webinar attendance is down. Like that's no surprise,
True. Yeah, true.
but
We
not if
still
they've
do
read your
well with
book.
webinars, but the truth of the matter is there's nothing like a book and a book funnel
Yeah,
to bring a person to you ready to purchase.
correct.
You
Yeah,
know,
I agree. I agree.
it's pretty amazing. I want to talk about the intricacies of your funnel. We'll
Yeah.
even give links so people can go to your funnel and that kind of thing. But talk to me about turning it off, turning it back on,
Yeah.
and
So
the metrics and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah. So the first time we launched it in 2019, it was the thing that took us from multi six to seven figures. Like that singular funnel
Yeah.
scaled us up $400,000 a year, which was awesome.
Wow. Yeah.
And we ran it for a couple of years. And then I released a new book, The Best Version of You. That was the one that went Wall Street Journal.
Yep.
And its goal was to help introduce my life coach certification, which
Right.
it did. I don't think I worked hard enough on that funnel the way I did with the original one to really get it in its groove the way it could have. But
Mm.
fast forward a couple of years, and we're in 2024, and the economy is struggling, and the network marketing world is also just going through a thing where people are going from some of the big companies are shutting down, people are going from one to another. And I hadn't run my F leadership funnel in a couple of years because I turned it off when I released the new book. If
Right.
you release a second book, just keep the first one going. It's like
Totally.
you don't need to choose, but for
You
whatever
don't.
reason,
You
my
don't.
brain
If it's
felt
making
that.
you money, I mean, leave it
Exactly.
on.
Exactly. So I think I just got it in my head. This book has done its thing. I played music for a lot of years. So eventually you record a new album, you stop
Right.
talking about the old one, right? And so I shut it down, and my life coach certification has done great. But my network marketing programs that were always the biggest part of the funnel that overflowed into the certification, all of that stuff started to dwindle down.
Right.
And so
Right.
I'm over here going, does this mean that I don't do that anymore? Do I just go all in on the life coach certification, which I love, but it's always been successful because of the overflow from my other programs. And so I
Right.
just found myself in this really rough spot. And then September of last year, I sat down and I said, you know what? Every single time someone gets a hold of that F leadership book, I don't promote it, but it's still on my site. Every time someone gets a hold of it, I started using some of the methods that I teach in there on team calls again. And what I thought was, this is old stuff. It's outdated. I've
Right.
evolved. I have new things to
You
talk
need a new
about
shiny
since.
object
Yeah,
to chase.
exactly.
Yeah.
But every time I would bring up something from the book, people would be like, "Oh my God, Josh, no one has ever said that." And I got to thinking, I was like, maybe I need to turn that funnel back on. So this is crazy, Rob. I didn't go tweak anything. I didn't change a single word on the landing page. I didn't
Wow.
change a single word on the order bump. I didn't change anything. The only thing I did was wrote a new email sequence to kind of go with what I have now versus what I had then.
Yeah.
But honestly, the email sequence for me has not been the power. It's just been the book.
Right.
I do give people an instant download of the audiobook. I personally don't upsell it. Not that that's a right or wrong thing. My
Yeah.
thing is, I just want you to get access to the content as fast as possible so that I can reach out and have a conversation with you.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
September, turn the funnel back on. And in the first week, and for my business, I specifically look for six-figure earners for my highest level program. I
Right.
have lower level programs that anybody can buy, but for me, the big profits are in finding higher level leaders that will buy my bigger packages. And
Right. And taking them to the next level.
yeah, exactly. So that very first week, connected with one girl, and she paid upfront 5 grand, and then she had bright red hair, And so for me personally, I don't actually use pictures of myself very often because my clientele is mostly women and they want to see other women. So
Yeah.
I said, hey, is there any way you could take a picture of yourself with my book? Send it to me. She said,
Nice.
absolutely. Put that up the next week, got two other people from her company jumped in, two more people from a different company jumped in. So, I mean, I had 5 clients in 2 weeks.
Wow. How
And
much
I
did you
was
spend on ads?
in those 2 weeks, I would have only spent 1,000.
So you made 25,000 spending
Yeah,
$1,000.
exactly. Exactly. And then, as I was telling Rob before we hit record, I did this real dumb thing. Week 3 comes around and I had a goose egg.
It
Week 4
happens.
comes around and I had a goose egg.
Yeah.
And because I wasn't in a good headspace, I went, well, that was just beginner's luck. I can't, if it's not dependable, sustainable, like this doesn't make, and I turned the whole thing off.
Wow.
After 30 days, I spent 2 grand, made 25 grand,
Wow.
and turned it off.
How many times would you like to do that? If you're listening today, how many times would you exchange 2,000 for 25,000?
I would do it a lot of
A
times.
lot.
So November comes around, December comes around, and I made a few sales November, December, those high ticket. I mean, I have other things that I'm selling, but as far as
Sure.
that specific program
Yeah.
goes, November, all of November, I probably made like 3 sales. All of December, I made 2 or 3 sales. And that was just kind of what was happening every
Right.
30 days with a lot more effort, reaching out, finding people. I was
Yeah.
finding a way to make 2 or 3 sales, but I could do that in addition to a book funnel.
Right.
So
Right.
I was doing some big time reflecting in February. And as a life coach, one of the things we do in life coaching is let's separate the facts from the stories we're making about the
Yeah.
facts, right? Doesn't mean we're perfect because sometimes we forget to do that. So I just said, you know what? Let's just sit down. Let's review last year. Let's look at the facts. Let's look at everything that worked, everything that didn't work. Let's just go through. I just had this huge analytical breakdown, and I'm not the guy with the master spreadsheets. That's
Right.
not my style. But I was like,
Right.
we got to look at something here, right? So I go and I look at it, and I was like, most of our top producers right now in that high level program are from September when
From
the
the
book
book.
funnel was on. Our top affiliates right now are from September, the book funnel. And I said, let's go look at the ads manager again. Because in my head, what I had told myself was this blew up all at once and then just fell apart. That
Yeah.
was the story in my head. I said,
Right.
let's just go look at that ads man. And I started dissecting it like one day at a time, one week at a time. And I was like, oh, so for 2 weeks, I made 5 sales. And then in week 3 and week 4, I did get some decent leads. They just didn't convert.
Right.
But now, as I was telling Rob earlier, I did wake up to a message from someone that was like, hey, Josh, ordered your book back in September, hadn't read it yet, couldn't sleep last night, so I read half the book. How do I work with you?
Yeah.
And $8,500 like that. So, on one hand, like that September, it was on for 4 weeks, Rob.
Wow.
4 weeks that
So fruitful in four
funnel was
weeks.
turned on, and it has led to that. So I said,
Please tell
okay,
me first of all, please tell me it's turned on right now.
yeah, it is on and it is
Okay.
turned up. It is turned up. Yes.
Okay.
I've got like 15 different ad sets going on right now,
Good.
just testing all the different things. What I'm tweaking right now, Rob, which I'm excited about is there a way with my messaging, with, the pictures, is there a way to get a higher percent of those 6-figure earners through the funnel? That's the experiment
Yeah.
I'm working on right now because,
Yeah.
I got frustrated that I wasn't getting enough high level people to then have the leads I needed to sell. So this time, instead of churning it off, I said, which by the way, I have already made a sale from the book funnel this month. So, and a couple other leads that I'm working on. It's
Sure.
not the 25 grand in 1 month, but it's profitable. So who cares? Right. Like
Right.
if we can profit, we're good. Right.
Yeah. Yeah. And plus, as you said, your book will sit on people's shelves,
Yeah.
and not everybody is ready to act immediately.
Correct.
But the book doesn't go away, and people don't
Right.
throw it away.
Right.
They keep it. I do want to ask some
Yeah.
questions about the funnel to clarify some
Sure.
things, both in my mind and
Yeah.
perhaps for anyone listening. So you spend 2,000 on ads. How much is it costing you to sell a book? Just give me
Hmm.
a round number.
Yep.
So how many
Between
books does that $2,000 relate to?
Yep. So it's between $20 and $30 a book for me.
Oh gosh, that's so cheap. You have no idea, Josh, how cheap that is.
I
Okay,
remember from
so
another convo we had. I'm spoiled over here.
yeah, that's really good. Okay, so it's costing you 20 to $30. What is the average customer value? How much are they spending in the funnel? Do they have anything else to buy besides the book?
Yeah, so we have a $26 upsell. That's
Okay,
like a couple mini courses. It's like a
okay,
buy one, get one free. And then from
gotcha.
there, it goes to 99. My 99 needs some work. It's not doing
Okay,
very well. My
okay,
$26, we get about one in every 7 to 8 people take the $26.
okay.
I'd
That's
like to
low
see that
also.
be a little bit better, but
Yeah, 20% is a good take rate. So before I go on to ask some
sure.
more questions, one thing to think about, if your $99 upsell
Hmm.
is not getting any take rate or a lot
Yeah.
of people interested, then there's two potential problems. Number one is that maybe the offer itself isn't great.
Hmm.
I'm not saying that that's the case, but
Totally.
that's one potential issue. The other, which believe it or not, this happens a lot more than people think, is that people aren't actually seeing it
Mm.
because they're opting out of the funnel
Hmm.
before they ever see that upsell. So
Gotcha.
one thing that we've made adjustments to, and I've seen many of my buddies make adjustments to, and it's been very successful, is they're putting the more expensive upsell up first.
Oh. Huh.
So that means that every single person now that is buying the book and putting
Yeah.
that in is going to see
Nice.
upsell number one.
Yeah.
So you may actually
Okay.
start converting, 15, 20% of the people
Hmm.
into the $99 offer and maybe less in the other one, but
Yeah.
put your best foot forward.
Okay.
Like, and don't be afraid to have a more expensive thing,
Okay.
even
I
a
love that.
couple of $100. So
I love that.
just a thought or idea there.
Yeah.
But so round numbers, your average customer value is what, $15, $20, something in that range?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. So it's costing you, let's go high. It's costing you $30 to sell the book. You're getting $20 of it back. You
Hmm.
do have some fulfillment costs, probably of
Yep.
$10 to get the
Yep.
book shipped out. So you're getting 10 of the 30 back. So it's
Right.
costing you the $20 or so to get that book into
Yes.
someone's hands. That's good. That's not bad. The adjustment with your upsell, the
Hmm.
first upsell might be able to,
Yeah.
I mean, if you sell 20% of those, there's your $20 right there,
Right.
right? I
Right.
mean, there's your $20 average order value increase right there if
Yeah.
1 out of 5 people take that. But that's beautiful. I mean, what we're saying is in September with 100 books sold,
Yeah.
you made 25,000, but you just closed an $8,500 deal that was
Yeah.
from that September batch, right?
Correct.
But
Correct.
it just took time
Yep.
for it to
Yeah.
cultivate
Yeah.
before that person became a client. And of course, that's part of it, right? Is
Yeah.
you're getting them to consume your content, you're getting them interested in your stuff, and
Yeah.
eventually they're going to love you. Eventually they're going to read it and they're going to be like,
Right.
I need to do this. So
Right. Yeah.
very, very good. Any other thoughts there? If not, I want to talk about the elements of the funnel if we could.
Yeah, I'd love to talk about the elements. And if at some point, whether it's now or later on, would love to talk about the process that because I do personal reach outs to people that order the book.
Oh, that's good.
And
That's good.
it works really well, especially, like obviously if you're spending 20 or $30,000 a month, you don't want to individually go reach out
You
to every
you
book sale.
probably couldn't, but you'd have a team doing it at that point.
Correct. Exactly.
Yeah.
Or some type of automation. But what I do is very intentionally send them a text message that says, "This is Josh." And then I put in parentheses from my personal phone. So they know it's not a bot. They know it's not an automated. Like I want them to have that personal touch. And I would literally just say, "Thank you so much for ordering my book. I just wanted to check in and make sure you found the instant download of the audiobook so you could get started right away." And
Nice.
just even if they don't respond, a reminder to go look for the audiobook so that I don't got to wait till the paperback shows up to be able to
Yeah.
sell them. I want them
Right.
listening. And I actually think these days, a lot of people prefer the audiobook and are excited to
They
hear,
do.
like, oh, yeah, I forgot there's an audiobook,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
But several people will respond and just be like, "Oh yeah, I did find the audio." And this is my most ideal conversation, Rob, is someone says, "Thanks, Josh. I did find the audiobook. I actually started listening last night. I can't stop." And then
Wow.
I'm
That's
like,
awesome.
"That's so great to hear. What were your
Yeah.
biggest takeaways?"
Yeah.
And so as long as they have started listening in any way, this person 100% wants to talk to me.
Yeah. I love that. One of my past clients who I think Taki Moore.
Yeah, yeah.
I love Taki. He's a good friend. He was a coach to me. I also helped him with his book, Million
Cool.
Dollar Coach. And he just came out with a training I thought was interesting. And he talked about one of his clients basically did a deep dive survey of their customers and what it was that brought their customers, from the initial connection to actual paying customer. And they found that on average, a person became a client not because of a length of time that they had been in their email autoresponder or any of that, but they became a client after they had consumed 48 minutes of their
Mm,
content.
wow.
And now that of course that number is arbitrary and that could
Sure.
be true, it could be less, it could be more for you.
Yeah.
But the point is, if you can get them, like
Yeah.
what you're doing is beautiful. It's the perfect thing. If you can get them consuming your content,
Yeah.
they are going to make a decision by
Right.
consuming your content, either to work with you or not. And
Yeah.
that's what we want. We
Yeah.
want them coming to us, ready to work with us,
Right.
or not coming at all,
Right.
right? I don't need to have a
Yeah.
conversation with somebody that, has no intention of
Yeah.
working with me.
Absolutely.
So I love that. I mean, we're talking about 100 text messages in a month, right?
Correct.
If you're
Yeah.
selling 100 books, for the most part, like you probably don't have exact percentages, but how many actually got back to you? How many actually, thanked you for your text
Mhm.
message and started a conversation?
So here's what's really interesting. Only about 10 to 15% of people respond, but the six-figure earners, which are my ideal client,
Yeah,
almost like 80% of them respond.
no kidding.
I don't even know
Wow,
how to explain that, Rob.
wow,
I don't even know
wow.
how to, but the reason I do it is because, first of all, it takes me about 40 minutes a day.
Yeah,
Now, once we scale this up, of course, I will automate this, have our software do, and I will probably only reach out to the six-figure earners personally because I
right.
know that's where I have the most money to be made. That's the one I
Right.
really want to get a hold of, right?
Yeah.
But it seems like the most ideal client for whatever reason is the one responding the most often. And if
Wow.
they are a six-figure earner, which is why I ask when they opt in. You know me, back in the day, I asked all these extra questions. I've kind of
Yeah.
cut those down a little
Yeah,
bit
I
now,
remember I was like, Josh, it's too long, man. Shorten it.
but it was giving me all the data that I
Right,
needed. And so
right,
I was
right,
willing to pay an extra $10 a person if it
right.
gave me the data that would help me sell that person.
I
So
get that. I
now
get
I've
that.
gotten rid of a lot of that, but I still ask for their monthly revenue.
Yeah,
And the
that's
reason I
good.
do, yeah,
Is
like,
that in the book purchase form?
yeah, it's in the
So
form.
literally in the book purchase form, you want
Yes.
that's really smart.
Yeah, and I give them three options. I make it multiple choice so they don't have to
Yeah,
share anything too specific. It's just like 0 to 2,500 a month, 2,500 to 7,900 a month, or
yeah.
8,000 plus. So
Gotcha.
anyone that checks that 8,000 plus, I know is my most ideal client. They're the
And
person.
80% of those people are getting back to you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow. That's
Now,
just
now they only make up about 10 would be a high estimate. They only make up about 10% of. So actually I have some numbers from last month that I pulled up because I'm trying really hard, Rob, to get more data driven after
yeah,
my
yeah, yeah, yeah.
mistakes. But we had yeah, it was like 100 book sales and only 7 of them were six-figure earners.
Okay. So of the seven, how many responded? Like five of them, six of them,
Yeah.
four of them?
Yeah. 5.
Yeah,
5.
that's
And
perfect.
one of them already signed up. The other one was in the middle of some busy stuff, so she's like, "I want to listen to the book." I sent her a bonus training. Like
Yeah.
if they respond at all, I get a convo going with them. I ask them if I can send them a bonus training that I have for six-figure earners. That's just like a 1 hour training.
Yeah.
I mentioned speaking on a team call for free, and I kind of just throw out everything to see what kind of gets their attention, you know?
Nice.
But even if I only get a team call out of it, for me, that's a big win because I'm going to go speak for 30 or 40 more people
Right.
and sell more books. I mean, I'll speak for free if you let me mention my book.
Yeah, that is fantastic. And then of course, you're taking it from that text conversation to a Zoom call or
Yep,
something like that,
exactly.
in
Yep,
which is a consultative sales call, and then there's an offer made at the end of that
correct.
if
Yep,
it's a fit.
exactly. Exactly.
Yeah, that's perfect. 100 books a month obviously can produce like some good action for you.
Yeah,
But if you could do 1,000 a month,
yeah, yeah.
I mean, there's no reason that you can't. Your
Right,
numbers are
right.
all good.
Absolutely.
The numbers are all good. So, I mean, the
Yeah.
only real advice is start ramping your
Hmm.
ad spend up
Yeah,
because, as we said, you are recouping some of that
yep,
money in the ad spend. And, at 100 a month, you're talking about three a day. So
yeah.
that's only requiring three text messages a day.
Right.
So, I mean, even if just 5x that,
Yeah,
right? And now it's 15 text messages you have to send a day. You
yep.
might get tired of that fast, but you won't get tired of the money and the opportunities fast.
Correct. Correct. Exactly. And that's the way I looked at it. You know, I actually have an affirmation every morning that I look at, Rob, that says, "Is it worth $1 million?" So
Mm,
every time there's something tedious in my business, because, I've been doing it for 11 years. I know you've been doing it even longer. You get to
yeah,
a point where you get a little spoiled, and you're
yeah,
like,
it's
there's
true.
some things I like to do, some things I don't like. And of course, I do have a team that I hire to do some of the stuff I don't like.
Right.
But there are certain things that I am most qualified to do. And especially for getting something started, I always want to do it myself before I try
Yeah.
to train someone else. And so, when it comes to sending out those text messages, there's a part of me that's like, you're an 11-year business veteran. You don't have to text. And then I'm like, is it worth $1 million? Yeah, it is. Like, would you rather send, 30 minutes worth of text messages and make $1 million a year? Or
Yeah.
when you start to compare
Of
it that
course.
way, it just
Yeah.
feels stupid. Of course, I'll
Yeah.
send 30 minutes of text messages.
Yeah. Yeah. And there is as evidence of the person who just got started that ordered your book in September,
Yeah.
there is a cumulative effect
Yes.
of your book sitting on people's shelves
Yeah.
and your book getting into the right person's
Yeah.
hands. And
Yeah.
so, man, that's really, really good. Very, very helpful. I've been talking a lot more about book funnels, even though I talk about book funnels a lot as it is. But I'm doing a newsletter to my past clients. You'll get a copy of it going out, and the whole thing is on book funnels
Mm.
and the way to think about it because it just you've spent so much time, energy, and effort creating this thing,
Yeah.
and it is amazing as well when you invest in creating
Mhm.
something like you did with your book
Yeah.
and you go back and read it, you forget how good it was. You do. I go back and I
True.
read my book and I'm
True.
like, man,
Yeah.
this is really good. I forgot I used to say that. I mean, you invested in it. You just have to get it into people's hands. And when you
Absolutely.
do, it's a game changer, man. So
Yeah.
well done, my friend.
Thank you. Can I say something to the people that are still
Please.
afraid to write their book?
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah,
Because this is what I feel like. We live in a social media based world where it's all about what's trending, what's blah, blah, blah. And I always joke with people, I'm like, listen, if you run a business on social media, and I know everyone listening doesn't necessarily do that, but if you run a business on social media, you've already written 20 books.
yeah,
You
yeah.
just wrote them a couple paragraphs at a time.
Right.
And
One blog post at a time.
yeah, and the way I see it is like with social media, and I use social media, by the way, I think it's a powerful tool, right?
Yeah,
But you are pouring your energy into a piece of content that will not live beyond the next 48 hours before you got to put out something else and then something else and then something else. And a book
yeah,
is essentially just taking the time to sit down and collect it all into one single thing that you can
yeah.
promote over and over. Like, I don't remember half the stuff I said in this book
Of course not,
because
right?
it's 6 years ago, but it's still speaking to somebody
Yeah,
somewhere every single day. And I never have to do that again. Can I write another book? Sure, I can.
yeah.
to be honest, now, I mean, I don't know if I want to. Now I'm like, let's just
Yeah.
keep using this thing, you know?
You
But
totally should. And you probably need to turn your other one back on too, if
yeah, I
that one
probably
isn't
do.
on yet, right? I mean, like
Yeah.
I tell everybody, I don't write a book without creating a book funnel.
Yeah.
And you know, I'm like you know, the president of the hair club for men. You know, I'm not just the president, but I'm a client as well. Like
Yeah.
this is the stuff I do because it works. I'm very pragmatic. Yes, I think writing a book, there is an art involved in it. But for me, it's science and data and let's be really practical mixed
Yeah.
in with the art. There's a
Yeah.
purpose
Yeah.
behind your book.
Yeah.
So, Josh, I love it. Where can people get the book? And let's give a couple of links where people can reach out to you, get the book, and that kind of thing.
Yeah, well, I mean, you could just go to joshcoates.com. If you're listening instead of watching, there's no E in my last name. So joshcoates.coates is C-O-A-T-S. You can also go to joshcoates.com/leadership book.
Okay, good. Leadership book. So joshcoates.com or joshcoates.com/leadership book.
Yeah,
Love it. Love it. Brother, thank you. Thanks
of course.
for sharing honestly and thanks for turning your book funnel back on also.
Thanks for all of your help, Rob. I appreciate you.